Hello everyone. Hope all of you are doing well. And myself Suraj. Today I would like to pro explain about the SQL database as well as Access database. Choosing between Access and SQL database for busy. So this is the highlight of the topic. So one by one points we will discuss today's session. We will start the session. The session objectives are: what is database? Types of database in busy, different types of database that are used for busy. And what is MS Access database? MS means Microsoft Access database. And what is busy powered by MS Access database? What is MS SQL database? Microsoft Systematic Query Language database. And we will see the busy powered by Microsoft SQL database, this one. And finally, comparison between MS Access versus MS SQL based on busy. And finally, we will see the practical demonstration about the SQL as well as the Access database. And question and answer is our final session objective. So these are the session objectives for today's session. Please listen carefully. If you have any such kind of doubts or clarification, you can ask the queries end of this session. So first of all, what is database? So database is a structured collection of data organized and stored electronically. It is designed to efficiently store, manage, and retrieve data, making it easier to organize and work with large volumes of information. Databases are widely used in various applications and industries to store and access data in a structured and efficient manner. So we know about the Excel. Excel is a worksheet. The Excel is a worksheet, but it is also similar to the database. What happened? Access, that is store the data in different templates, different documents. In a single documents itself, they have Excel is having the multiple sheets, sheet number 1, 2, 3, 4, likewise. And each and every sheets will have the certain informations or data. And that data is stored in row and columns. How the data is stored in row and columns in an Excel sheet. Similarly, in Access as well as SQL databases also store the data very organized manner, and the collection of organized manner in and informations in columns and rows manner. The Access database and SQL databases, both the databases are developed by the Microsoft. So this is all about database, and the database is store the informations in tables and row. So that data we can access or we can manage whenever we want using the different types of queries, different types of reports, etc. So in busy we have two types of databases. Busy, it can support two types of databases. The first one is Microsoft Access and Microsoft SQL. There are many other databases also available in the market, but basically busy, it can support these two databases. So Microsoft Access, it's a little bit older database developed by the Microsoft Corporation, and SQL, it's a very famous database, and most of the industries, most of the applications that are working with this SQL database. So after that, we will see the deep comparison between MS Access and SQL and all those things. But particularly in busy, it can support MS Access as well as MS SQL databases. And both the databases in busy, we have a single exe file, single installation file. There is no any different installation file for the busy. Both MS Access as well as MS SQL, it having the single installation file. MS Access, this particular database, it can install automatically when we install the busy software. Internally, it can install, but MS SQL is not like that. MS SQL, we have to install it externally with another set of file that should be available in a Microsoft official website. Based on our operating system, you can download the MS SQL setup file from the Microsoft official website that I can show you later. So in a 32-bit system, you have to download 32-bit MS SQL setup file, and for the 64-bit system, operating system, you have to download the 64-bit embedded exe file. And one more important point here is The MS Access, it can be installed in any kind of operating system. There is no any such kind of requirements. But MS SQL, it's having certain requirement, system configuration requirement. For example, if we are using Windows 10 operating system, then we cannot able to install 2002 SQL Server. If we try to install that particular MS SQL Server, then ultimately we will have found some kind of issue after that. That is the reason whenever you are trying to install the MS SQL Server in your system, you can install next version of the MS SQL Server. For example, we are having if you are having Windows 10 operating system, you can install 2012 SQL Server or 2014 SQL Server. Or if we having the Windows 11 operating system, then you can install the Windows SQL MS SQL Server 2014, 2016, 2012, etc. Never you cannot install the older version of the MS SQL, because if we install the older version of the MS SQL, so it can install, but after certain interval of time, the whenever you are trying to start the transactions, then we will found some kind of errors and all those things. So this is all about the types of databases, and you have to take precautions to install precautions. You have to take the precautions before installing the MS SQL database. Now let me explain you about the what is MS Access database. Microsoft Access, MS Access, short name is MS Access. This database is a user-friendly and versatile database management system developed by Microsoft, enabling users to create, store, retrieve, and manage structured data efficiently. It is often used for small to medium-sized projects, offering tools for data organization, form creation, query building, and report generation. MS Access, Microsoft Access, this database is structurally very user-friendly software, user-friendly database. And this database is used to develop small projects and manage smaller size databases, etc. We cannot use this particular MS Access database to manage very big size data, because it having certain capacity. Or this particular MS Access database, it is having the Microsoft Jet database engine. Internally, it have the Microsoft Jet database engine, so it can helps to store the data in a very organized manner. And also each and every database, it having the DBMS, database management system. This database management system, it is available in MS SQL as well as MS Access, and it can helps to interface the between the user and the database. This database management system, DBMS, it can helps to interface between the database with the user or a system. So this is all about MS Access, and this MS Access database has been developed by Microsoft on the year of 1992, and there it is the very first database for the Microsoft side. And in Busy can powered by the Microsoft database utility. Busy, it can able to connect with Microsoft database engine. So here Busy can be used in the same premises. If you are using the Microsoft database from Busy, then you can use the Busy database in a single premise. For example, the company, if they have multiple branches in a multiple locations, they cannot able to use the centralized data system in single place. They cannot able to access another branch data in their place, because in Access database, it cannot having the option to connect multiple branches data, but SQL we have that. Another point here is single and multi-user licenses are available for the Microsoft Access databases. In Busy, the single user, multi-user licenses are there. There are two types of licenses. In Access database, it can support single as well as multi-user licenses. Access database, it can manage data size up to 2 GB. More than 2 GB also it can support, but after certain interval of time, if the data size is more than 2 GB, then we felt some kind of lagging and slowness, etc. So normally that particular Access database, it can support up to 2 GB data size. And one more important point here is after 2 GB of data size, the user or the concern entity, if they wants to convert their data MS Access to MS SQL, it is possible. Anytime they can able to convert the data from MS Access to SQL or SQL to Access in Busy. And MS Access database compatible with all editions. It can compatible with basic edition, standard edition, enterprise edition also. And this MS Access database model based on MS Access database. In Busy, we have different types of models like basic model, standard model, enterprise model, etc. So that all the models we have single user, multi-user licenses. So every model it can supports MS Access database. Here we have given some of the models of Busy. In Busy, we have two types of licenses. One is perpetual license, another is subscription license. Perpetual license, it is nothing but it is a one-time investment, and it's a one-time investment license. If the user they can purchase the license, then after 1 year, if they are not renewal, BLS is not renewal, then only GSP features are not working. But other than that, normal billing process it can work. That is called perpetual license. And subscription license, it is nothing but after they have to purchase the subscription from us. Once the subscription if they purchase, then that subscription will be work for 1 year. After 1 year, if they are not renewed the license, then software it cannot work. That is called subscription. Here, for the perpetual licenses, we have given the name basic, and for the subscription licenses, we have given the name blue. Basic is for perpetual and blue is for subscription. Similarly, and this basic and blue, both the models, it is available in single user as well as multi-user mode. And similarly for standard is for perpetual license, and saffron is the name of subscription license. Standard is for perpetual and saffron is subscription. And here standard and saffron also comes along with single user and multi-user modes. And even we have another model, higher model, that is called enterprise mode, enterprise edition. And this enterprise edition, it is for the subscription license. And emerald, we are named emerald for the subscription model. And enterprise and emerald both are comes along with single user and multi-user mode. So these are the some basic idea of models and licenses of Busy software, and all the licenses it can support MS Access database backend. So this is all about Busy powered by MS Access database. Let us move another slide. Now let us see what is MS SQL database. Microsoft Systematic Query Language Database. Microsoft SQL database, often referred to as SQL Server, is a robust and high performance relational database management system, RDBMS, developed by Microsoft. It is designed to efficiently store, manage, and retrieve structured data using the SQL language. SQL Server is commonly used in enterprise environments for data storage, analysis, and application development. So SQL is a very popular database system, and SQL it is used for many of the applications, softwares, developments, tool, etc. SQL is having the certain database engine as well as the database server, so that you have to install the SQL server externally with the help of one particular exe file. And this SQL is developed by the Microsoft, and this SQL database is having some of the SQL query. Using that query, you can retrieve the data, you can store the data, and you can manage the data whatever you want. You can search something, some information internally with this particular database using the SQL query. So this is all about the MS SQL database, and in Busy it can support MS SQL database also. Now let us talk about Busy powered by MS SQL database. Here, especially the MS SQL databases that are used for the Busy to connect multiple locations or branch and access that data in a single place. For example, if you have the head office in Delhi, and you have some branches some other place like Haryana, UP, Himachal, etc. So easily you can manage and access the data of all the branches in a single place. You can just sit in a Delhi office and you can access all the branch data using this MS SQL database. Through the internet, that data accessibility is takes place. And heavy data sizes also can you can manage with the help of MS SQL. Some of the big companies and corporate companies, if they're having the data size more, then we have suggested them to go for the MS SQL database instead of Access database. Access is having certain limitation, but MS SQL is not like that. And speed is fast compared to Access. The MS SQL speed is fast and very scalable product compared to Access. MS SQL is very scalable product. Data remains more secure. If you are keeping the data in SQL, then the data is more secure. Anytime if the data has having some issue, sometime the data is not working, you may get some errors related to the database. So easily you can manage and retrieve the data using the SQL queries, or else sometime the SQL services has been stopped unexpectedly. That time the database is not working means you can simply go to the services, or else you can go to the Microsoft SQL management Microsoft SQL configuration tool. You can restart the MS SQL services. So on that time, that particular database will be start working immediately. So this type of small troubleshooting possibility is also available in MS SQL. But Access is a little difficult. The data has been corrupted in Access database, so you have to send the data in our head office, and after that only that will be that maybe have the chance to recover. So, but SQL is not like that. Within an instant or single interval of time, or some within fraction of time, you can recover your MS SQL data. Here, no limit on number of concurrent users. In MS SQL, we don't have any limitation to connect the concurrent users. You can connect many users in a single database. But Access is not like that. Access is having certain limitations. Cannot able to connect more users as a MS SQL database. Count license is available. For the SQL database, you cannot connect with the multi-user licenses. In Busy, we don't have the multi-user license for the MS SQL. We have the count license that is called client server edition. We are calling the name as a client server edition. That particular license is available for the MS SQL. And one more important point here is the MS SQL database. It is not compatible with basic edition of Busy as well as Blue edition of Busy. It is only compatible with standard as well as enterprise editions. Model based on MS SQL database. MS SQL database models are like this. For the standard model, it is a name of perpetual license, and another name is Saffron. Saffron is called for the subscription mode, subscription license, and these two are available with client server edition. Standard client server edition, Saffron client server edition. It is this model is available from us. Another important license here is enterprise model. That enterprise model is for the subscription perpetual license, and Emerald is for the subscription license. So both the model it is available with client server edition, enterprise client server edition and Emerald client server edition. So these are the models of MS SQL database. Now let us discuss about comparison between MS Access versus MS SQL database. So based on Busy, if you are using the MS Access database, then single location you can manage. Location you can manage. But if we are using MS SQL, then multiple locations can be managed. In MS Access, the data size can be managed up to 2 GB, but in MS SQL, heavy data size can be managed. And MS Access, speed may be slow in case of heavy data size. If the data size is heavy, then speed is slow compared to SQL in Access. And MS SQL database, better performance with the heavy data sizes. MS Access database, low cost licenses in case of multi-user. For example, the client is having 20, 30 computers. Simply they can purchase one multi-user license of MS Access, then they can connect all the system through the LAN. But MS SQL is not like that. We don't have the multi-user concept in MS SQL. We have to purchase the count license. In the same case, the client is having 30 number of computers. They have to purchase 30 count systems, 30 client server edition count for the SQL. It is charge more actually. Cost is more compared to MS Access. MS Access is very less price, and user are limited in case of RDP. Suppose the user, the company is having multiple users and they are using the database with remote desktop protocol RDP along with RDP. In that case, we are able to connect the system up to, we are able to connect 25 systems, 25 users. Not more than that, not that is not possible in MS Access. But MS SQL, it is not like that. No limit for the number of concurrent users. Data security is good compared to MS SQL. In MS Access, the data security is good, and in MS SQL, data is more secure than MS Access. So these are all about the comparison between MS Access and MS SQL database. Let us see the practical demo. Here in Busy, we know that that setup file is available here, busy.in, www.busy.in. You can go to the busy.in website, and under the resources section, you can have the option of download. Go to the download section, and here you can download the busy21 setup file. And this setup file is common for MS SQL as well as MS Access. There is no any such different exe file for the different database. Each is both the database is having common setup file. And another thing here is whenever we are installing the busy21 exe in your system, that access database is automatically by default installed. No need to install the access database externally. But access SQL is not like that. You have to download the SQL database file from the Microsoft official website. Just search the Google. Just first you go to the Google, and here you can search Microsoft SQL Server 2014. If we want 2014 SQL Server, and for the 32-bit system or 64-bit system, you can search like this. Then this official Microsoft official website will shown here. Just click on that. In bottom of the screen, you have one download button. Here you can select English. Click the download button. There are many types of exe setup file is available in official website, Microsoft official website. You have to download the relevant 64-bit file or 32-bit file. So in the bunch of this particular files, you have to download the 64-bit setup file for your operating system or 32-bit operating system. So here you can see the Express. Express means it is a free edition of SQL, and it is a 64-bit operating system exe file, and this one is 32-bit operating system exe file. And one more important thing here is, if your system is 32-bit, then you have to choose the x86 processor. If your system is 64-bit, then you have to download the x64-bit exe file. So this is the very important point here. So just you can tick on here and you can download. So this is the download steps. And another point here is, apart from Microsoft SQL Server exe file, you have to download Microsoft Management Studio. That is another setup file available here. You can see the Management Studio. The Management Studio 32-bit, another is Management Studio 64-bit. Both is available in official website. It is available for free. There is no any charges. Just you can download. The Management Studio, it is required to connect with your database, to run the SQL queries. Sometime there is a issue with your connectivity. So that time you can go to the Microsoft Management Studio and you can do the operation whatever you want. Other than this, if you forgot the particular SQL password, you can reset with the help of Management Studio. That is why the Management Studio, it is required. So you can download from here. After successful download, you can run the setup file. The setup file you have to run and follow the certain instructions, and that related video, it is already available in our YouTube channel, official YouTube channel. You can go through that. Once the file has been installed, here you can search in a start box. You can search from start. can click here, search SQL. Here you can search SQL. Now you see here SQL Server 2014 Management Studio is available. This is the Management Studio. Another one, SQL Server Configuration Manager. This is the SQL Server Configuration Manager. It will become like this. Most of the time, the services it is not started. Then you have to search like this. This window will appear. You can come here and you can click the SQL Server and start the service. Then the services has been start. If the services is not started, then you cannot able to connect that particular SQL server in busy. The important point here is you have to start the SQL server services from this SQL server configuration manager. So now in my system, I have different types of SQL instances. I have SQL server busy. I have SQL server SQL 2014. This is the instance name. SQL 2014, it is a instance name. Busy, it is a instance name. The instance name you have to create whenever you are installing the SQL. When you installing the SQL setup, that time you need to type the instance name, whatever the name you want. So that name is called as instance name. So based on that instance name, you can identify your SQL server instance. So it can show on here. So this is all about SQL server download, installation, and starting. So other than this, in busy, other than this, you can start the SQL server services from start also. Here you can search the run button. You can go to the run and search the keyword services, services.msc, services.msc. Then this services screen will appear. Here you have to search the keyword SQL. Then this one is appear. SQL Server 2014 is there and busy is there. Both is different instances. If you wish to start the services of both, then you can keep the cursor on above that. Then you can restart the service like this. Restart the service. Then only the SQL will started. Once the SQL is started, then only you can able to connect with the database in busy. So this is all about SQL. And apart from this, we will see how to connect the SQL and Access database in busy software. First of all, let me show you how to connect the MS Access database in busy. So this is the MS Access exe file. If it is a Access database, then you can get this type of option called set data directory. Set data directory. Here you can click, then you can define the data folder. So every time if you install the busy software, the folder is created in the name of BusyWin. The folder name is BusyWin. Internally in the BusyWin folder, you have one folder called data. This is the main data folder. Internally, this folder is having all the company database. Some of the cases, the user what they did, they are cut this folder and they can keep some other folder, some other drive, because C is not safe and secure, because sometimes the system is corrupted or any virus attack has been takes place. That time we have to format the OS. So in that time, if the data is in C drive, then it is a problem. For that reason, the users what they do, they can cut this particular data folder and they have been keep some other drive or folder whatever they want. So then at that time in the Access database, what we have to do, we have to set the data directory like this. You can click on the set data directory and select the path of the data. For example, this is my path. I can select it the path like this and give the path and press OK button. So then the Access database is ready to use. So this is the Access database connectivity. There's a very simple connectivity procedure. There is no any complications. Simply you have to define the data directory path over. And in this particular database, Access database, you can create a number of company. There is no issue. But once the data size is goes to more than 2 GB, so that time you can feel some kind of lagness, slowness with busy. Here you can also check the size of the data. First company is having 20 MB, second company is having 20 MB, third company is having 20 MB, this one is 34 MB, like this. So this is about the data Access database connectivity in busy. And even after connectivity of Excel, whenever if you want to convert the Access database in SQL, simply you have one option here. So here you have the option data export import, import data from SQL. So just click on that, import data from SQL, define the SQL server name, SQL user ID, password, etc. Then you click on this arrow mark. Then automatically all the companies that is available in a SQL database will become here. And you have to select the required company, put the company credentials, username, password, then you can import. So this is the process to follow to convert the data of in SQL to Access. Now, similarly, let us see the connectivity of SQL database. So this is the Access database connectivity. For the Access database, you can get this set data directory option. Similarly, SQL database, you cannot get the set data directory. There you can get the option of set server information. First of all, how to create the shortcut of busy for the SQL. For that, you have to click the right click. You can click the right click here and go to the new shortcut, browse the file, select the path of the busy. If you install the busy in a C drive, then you can go to the C drive, busy win folder, and select the busy 21 exe. After that, you can give the question mark also. You can give the question mark and save it. Then one shortcut file has been created. Just double click on that. That time it is asking you to enter the command line. You need to enter the model and busy model, that is enterprise model, and client server edition EC, that is a busy model and version. You have to type that keyword. Then that particular company is open in SQL database. This is the process you have to follow to create the SQL exe shortcut. Now the very first time it is taking little bit more time to open the company. So now the license I have got here, security has been checked, and the current software is working in client server mode enterprise edition. After that, here you can see that one option is there, set server information. The set server information, this is available only for the SQL database exe, not for the Access database. Previously, we had seen that here set data directory is there. Now it is showing set server information. Now let us see how to set the server information for SQL database. After clicking on that, this type of screen will appear. Here you can see the database MS SQL. It is a default name. You cannot change anything. You cannot do anything. And here you can type the server name. The server name you have to search from command prompt also. Server name, first thing you have to enter the computer name. How to know the computer name? You have to search host name in the command prompt. You can search the command host name, then you can get your computer name. Otherwise, you can right click on the computer, this PC, and go to the properties. Here you can also check the device name. Copy the device name, paste it here. Then you can give on slash, this one slash, and after that you can type the DB name. Where you get the DB name? So that DB name you can get from services.msc here. Here you can see the DB name. Busy is the DB name, and another DB is SQL 2014. There are two SQL instances has been installed. Let me select BUSY busy. Other steps to follow the DB name is you have to go to the SQL configuration manager, and you can see the DB name in a bracket, BUSY. So this DB name you have to type here. SA password. SA is the user ID of the SQL. By default, the name is called SA, and password you can type it here. The password you can type it here. The password, that password you can generate at the time of SQL installation. When we install the SQL from busy from in your system, that time that application is asking you to create a password, SA password. That time only you can create, and you have to remember that password. Sometime if you forgot the password, no issue. We have the SQL Management Studio. You can go to the SQL Management Studio and you can reset the password. That provision is also provided by the Microsoft. So here you can type the password and you can save it. Now the SQL server information is done. After that, you can create a company. So this is the process to connect the SQL database system in Busy software. Very simple method, but compared to Access, little bit complicated. But anyway, you can manage more size data, big size data in SQL, and also you can able to connect multiple branches, location data in a single place, and you can simply sit in a single place and you can able to access with your data. So that is the reason SQL is most much popular. So this is all about SQL, and similarly, after that you can convert the SQL data to the access. Previously, we had seen that how to manage your SQL data and how to convert that data into access. Similarly, you can also convert SQL data to access or access data into SQL. Both it is possible. So this is all about access connectivity as well as SQL connectivity. In SQL system, there is a one particular folder will be there in a C drive. Here you have a program files. Go to the Microsoft SQL server. So this is the main folder of SQL. Microsoft SQL 12. 12 is the version of SQL, and SQL 2014 it is a instance name. So internally we have one more folder called MS SQL. In that folder itself, we have another folder called data. So all types of SQL data, log file, DB file, okay, that all are created and saved in a data folder of this MS SQL. These all are the important files. And the backup and all those things will be a common process for the SQL and Access. So both the databases, they have the same steps to follow. If you want to take a backup of Access or SQL, you have to go to here, backup data, select the file, put the username and password, and give the path name where you want to take a backup. Then automatically backup has been generated. This is the backup file. If the data is SQL, then the backup name is called data cs.cs. If it is a SQL database, then the backup name is little different. So let me show you that also. So this is my Access database. I can take a backup here, desktop. So now I have taken Access database backup. So Access database backup is like this: disk 1 and data, disk 1 and data. But SQL database backup is data cs. So this is the difference between backup file. So this is the subject of the today's session. For further any assistance, you can call to our 24/7 centralized help desk number to install the SQL or any other query related to SQL or Access, anything it might be. You can directly call to our number 8282828282. Otherwise, you can write a mail to us, support@busy.in. We are there to help you. Now the floor is for you to ask queries regarding today's subject. If you have any queries or any doubts, you can ask me, please. Or else you can put the message in question and answer chat box. Thank you.